Beerus talks about why Goku is the most powerful in all of Universe 7. Goku always manages to be the strongest. This is a statement that carries weight in any discussion about Dragon Ball. Since the beginning of the franchise, he has been the protagonist who reinvents himself, adapts, and surpasses his own limits. Not by destiny, but by an explosive combination of obsession for challenges, pure spirit, and privileged genetics like Saiyan. Even when momentarily overshadowed by other characters, Goku invariably finds a way to overcome everything, including himself. At the beginning of Dragon Ball, Goku was just a naive boy, but there was already the seed of what he would become. A warrior who fights not out of anger or justice, but out of love for the fight itself. This sets Goku apart from most shonen characters. He does not want to be the hero, he wants to be the strongest just to see how far he can go. This pure desire to overcome is the engine that drives his trajectory, and it is this spirit that always leads him to reach levels that no other character seems capable of sustaining for very long. An important point is the way Goku absorbs everything around him as a learning experience. When facing masters like Master Roshi, King Kai, Whis, or even enemies like Jiren and Moro, he doesn't just survive, he evolves. Every technique he learns, every opponent's move he observes is assimilated, refined, and incorporated into his style. Goku is like a combat sponge, absorbing the best of his opponents and transforming it into personal advancement. In addition, the Saiyan's survival instinct is a trump card that Goku masters like no one else. The ability to become stronger after nearly dying Zenkai was used by him in critical moments, such as in the fight against Frieza on Namek. But Goku goes beyond genetics. He seeks to train in extreme environments, challenges deities, and accepts being put on the brink of death or even dying if that is necessary to become stronger. There is an almost suicidal streak in this desire to overcome that no one else shares with such intensity. Even when he is not the strongest, he soon becomes one. Vegeta, Gohan, Future Trunks, Gotenks, Jiren, Broly, Granola, all of them at some point surpassed Goku, even if briefly. But over time, he always returns to the top. This happens not because of lazy scriptwriting, as some suggest, but because Goku never stops. He never settles. He respects those who surpass him, but never accepts being left behind. This puts him on a constant upward spiral of power. The most emblematic case of this overcoming is perhaps Ultra Instinct. Even among the gods, this technique is seen as unattainable by mortals. But Goku achieved it, and more than that, he mastered it in its complete version, something that even Whis claims is difficult to maintain. And the most impressive thing is not the destructive power of the form, but the fact that Goku achieved it alone under extreme pressure, guided only by his indomitable will to protect and fight. Another essential factor is his clean mentality, free of hatred, revenge, or greed. This allows Goku to reach mental and spiritual states that characters like Vegeta or Frieza never achieved. Ultra Instinct itself requires an empty, serene mind, which moves by reflex and not by intention. Goku, despite being a savage warrior, possesses this innate purity, a paradox that makes him unique. There is also the influence of his network of allies and rivals. Goku does not grow alone. His adversaries are his constant motivation. The rivalry with Vegeta, the example of Broly's strength, Whis' teachings, the cosmic threats he has faced, all of this serves as fuel for his growth. And yet, he never uses this to feel superior. Goku does not want to dominate anyone. He wants to share the battlefield with the strongest. This prevents him from stagnating, as his focus is not on winning, but on improving. In Dragon Ball Super, this pattern became even more evident. Amidst deities, angels, gods of destruction, and beings that shape the universe, Goku remains relevant and, more than that, competitive. He evolves among cosmic beings as if he were still that boy from Mount Paozu fighting for fun. This shows that Goku's limit is not physical or technical, it is philosophical. He is a being who transcends the logic of power because power for him is not an end, but an eternal path. For Goku, death was never the end, but a temporary state, and even in the other world he trained. During the Majin Buu saga, he appears stronger even though he is dead. He does not waste opportunities. Where others would rest, Goku trains. Where others would fear, he gets excited. Where most would tremble before the unknown, Goku smiles and asks, "Do you want to fight?" This attitude not only strengthens him, but inspires everyone around him. That is why even the gods respect him. Beerus sees in Goku a potential that perhaps surpasses even his own. Whis, an angelic being, continues to train him, knowing that Goku is an anomaly among mortals. Even Frieza, an evil and manipulative being, admits that Goku always comes back stronger. This constancy is no longer a surprise, it is a rule of the Dragon Ball universe. In the end, Goku always becomes the strongest because he is the only one who truly lives for it. Not for glory, not for power, but for the love of combat, for the love of the journey. He is not defined by victories or titles, but by the simple act of continuing. Goku is in essence the embodiment of the phrase he himself keeps repeating, "I am Goku, and I will never stop getting stronger." And when that is your nature, there is no ceiling that can hold you back. Beerus, the god of destruction of Universe 7, is an ancient being whose job is to erase civilizations and balance the cosmos through destruction. He has witnessed countless races, warriors, worlds, and eras rise and fall. Little really piques his interest until he meets Goku. From his first encounter with Saiyan, Beerus noticed something different about this mortal. It wasn't just his raw power that caught his attention, but rather the uncomfortable energy of someone who doesn't fear even a god, who fights with a smile even in the face of annihilation. Goku, in the clash against Beerus in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, was the first mortal in ages to force the god of destruction to use a significant portion of his strength. But more than that, Goku demonstrated curiosity instead of reverence, enthusiasm instead of fear. And this attitude deeply intrigued Beerus. For the first time, he saw a warrior who was not interested in surpassing the gods out of vanity or thirst for power, but because he simply loved to test himself. It was a passion for evolution, a thirst for something that not even Beerus fully understood. Over time, this perception only deepened. While others tried to flatter the god or feared his judgment, Goku continued to treat him as a potential opponent, as someone he would like to fight again, not out of arrogance but out of admiration. Goku respects Beerus but does not submit to him, and this attitude, paradoxically, won the attention of the Destroyer. In Goku, Beerus saw a rare spirit, a kind of driving force that perhaps not even the gods themselves possess, the unbreakable will to challenge oneself until the last moment. Beerus began to observe Goku more carefully, and he realized that, unlike mortals who seek power to feel superior or dominate others, Goku only wants to see what comes next. What is the next level? What is the next challenge? This makes him unpredictable, even dangerous, but at the same time worthy of something that few receive, the recognition of a god. Even when Beerus teases or belittles him, there's a layer of respect hidden in his words. He knows Goku isn't messing around with his powers. He's on a journey no mortal would dare to follow with such focus. Whis, Beerus's assistant angel and master, was the first to notice that Goku could be a rival to the gods. But it was Beerus who felt it firsthand. And what amazes him is not only the speed at which Goku evolves, but why it happens. While others need revenge, tragedy, or hatred to overcome themselves, Goku only needs motivation. A strong opponent, a new goal, and he reinvents himself. Beerus, despite being a being with divine powers, knows that this kind of impulse is rare, even among the gods themselves. That's why Beerus avoids facing him again seriously, not out of fear, but because he understands that Goku could eventually reach a level where not even the gods are safe. And the scariest thing is that Goku doesn't even want that. He doesn't want to take anyone's place. He doesn't want to be the strongest in the universe. He wants to be the strongest himself. This distinction, subtle but fundamental, is what Beerus began to understand over time. Even when Goku achieved Ultra Instinct, a technique that not even Beerus had fully mastered, the god of destruction showed no envy. On the contrary, he smiled. He saw in that moment confirmation of everything he already suspected. Goku is not competing with anyone but himself. The mastery of Ultra Instinct by a mortal was not an affront, but a revelation. The universe is changing, the rules are being rewritten, and Goku is the catalyst for it all. Behind his lazy and arrogant attitude, Beerus is a keen observer, and he sees Goku not as a substitute, but as a symbol, a sign that evolution does not depend on immortality, inherited power, or divine blood, but on will. A will so fierce and pure that it refuses to accept any limits. This realization changed the way Beerus views mortals. He no longer sees Goku as an isolated exception, but as the first of a new breed of warrior. Goku inspired not only other mortals but also the gods themselves. Vegeta, upon realizing this essence, also began to follow his own journey, no longer wanting to surpass Goku, but rather to find his own version of strength. This is also due to the influence of the pure-hearted Saiyan. And Beerus, even though he is a symbol of destruction, understands that the universe needs forces like Goku to continue existing in balance, forces that challenge the established order, that bring creative chaos to the stagnation of the gods. At many times, Beerus tries to hide this respect with jokes, threats, or feigned disinterest, but in his silence and in his willingness to not eliminate Goku even in the face of disrespect, it is clear he sees in Saiyan a spirit that not even destruction can erase. Someone who does not need the title of strongest to be the center of everything. Someone who, precisely because he does not desire the throne, is worthy of it. If Goku ever surpasses Beerus, and it is likely that this will happen, it will not be out of arrogance or revenge. It will be because Goku's nature demands it, because he cannot stop, because there is always a next level, and Beerus in his divine wisdom has already accepted this truth, not as a defeat but as a new chapter in existence, because even a god of destruction understands that there are forces that not even gods can contain. And the name of that force in this universe is Goku. In the end, Beerus doesn't fear Goku, he admires him, because he knows that Goku doesn't want to destroy, dominate, or replace him. He just wants to fight, learn, grow, and that's precisely why he always wins, because his motivation is pure, selfless, indestructible. And Beerus, as the guardian of balance, knows that this kind of power should not be stopped. It should be observed, respected, and perhaps one day even followed. With all this considered, his unbreakable will, his pure spirit, and his incessant hunger for improvement, it becomes inevitable to see that Goku is destined to be the most powerful in all the universes. Not by imposition of the gods, not by lineage or predestination, but because he represents the pinnacle of mortal potential in its purest and most unpredictable form. While many seek the top to establish themselves as dominators, Goku climbs without looking to the sides, without worrying about titles, simply because he can't stop growing. His mastery of Ultra Instinct, something reserved for angels, already places him in a category that transcends the logic of mortals and even Hakaishins. But the most impressive thing is that he didn't stop there. Goku continues to train, testing the limits of what this form can do, developing his own version of instinct, molding it according to his essence, something that no god has ever done. He is reinventing divine power from the perspective of a warrior who is not afraid to start over, to fail, to be beaten, as long as it takes him further. No other being has demonstrated such a capacity for adaptation and transcendence. Whether facing Jiren, Broly, Moro, Gas, or even figures like Black Frieza, Goku always finds a loophole, a new path, an unexpected answer. He doesn't break limits just with strength. He breaks them through his mentality, through the lightness with which he faces the impossible, through his detachment from the need to win. And it is precisely this detachment that elevates him, because he doesn't fight for ego, but for evolution, something that few in any universe are capable of understanding or achieving. That is why, when time advances, when the multiverses cross paths again and the challenges become even more colossal, Goku will be there. Not as a god with a cape and throne, but as the warrior who smiles in the face of the abyss. And everyone will know, mortals, gods, angels, and beyond, that among all forms of power, the most unbeatable was the one born from the heart of a Saiyan who never gave up on surpassing himself. Because in the end, Goku will not become the most powerful in the universes because he wants that title, but because no one else will be able to achieve it. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget to like. Thank you very much for all your support, and see you next time.